Okay, still looking at rational expressions. Remember, we can think of those as polynomial fractions. So here we're subtracting rational expressions, which is like subtracting fractions. In order to do this, we need a common denominator. So we could look at what are the factors. We might want to factor out the number parts at least. 49 is 7 times 7. 14 is 2 times 7. And then we could look at the variable parts. Okay, well, let's take a look here now. What we need to make the denominator common. So this one has a 7 and a 7. This has a 2 and a 7. So to make them common, this has 2 7s and this needs another one. And this has a 2 that this one doesn't have, so we could say multiply that by 2. And now let's look at the variables. Z cubed and z. This has one more z, one more factor of z than this does, so this needs to be multiplied by z. And then I believe the y's match, don't they? Okay, so that means that our common denominator, all of that put together, let's see what the common denominator looks like. Well, it's 2 times 7 times 7. Here we have 2 times 7 times 7. So 2 times 7 times 7 is 49 times 2 is 98. Z cubed. Here's our z squared times z for z cubed and a matching y. Z cubed y. Okay, so that's our common denominator. Now, remember, if we multiply the denominator here by 2, then we have to multiply the numerator by 2. If we multiply the denominator by 7z, we have to multiply the numerator by 7z. Okay, so now 2 times 2 is 4. Negative 1 times 7z is negative 7z. Now, we've done the subtraction. We always need to check to see if anything can simplify. Will this factor? No, the two terms have no common factors, so we know that that is a simplified result. Okay, let's look at another subtraction. Alright, this subtraction again needs common denominators. So this is a binomial denominator, this is a monomial, and they have no common factors. This x and this x, they are the same, they look the same, but this one is not a factor, it's a part, it's a term in a binomial. So they're not common factors. So if we think of them in terms of what we need for a common denominator, well, this one has an x factor that this one needs. So this one needs a factor of x. This one only has the x and does not have the x plus 9. It needs the x plus 9. So we know our common denominator is x times x plus 9. We can leave it in factored form. Now, remember, if we multiply the denominator by x, we have to multiply the numerator by x as well. If we multiply this denominator by x plus 9, we also have to multiply the numerator by x plus 9. So let's carry out the multiplication. X times 10 for 10x, and then negative 11. We're going to distribute here. Negative 11 times x, negative 11x. Negative 11 times positive 9, negative 99. Now we can simplify this because we can combine or collect like terms here. 10x minus 11x is negative x minus 99, or x times x plus 9. Now, can we factor this any further? Well, we could factor out a negative 1. That's all we could factor out. and that would not cause anything to cancel, wouldn't remove any factors of 1, so we could leave it in this form here. Okay, subtraction is done with our common denominator. Okay, let's take a look at this one here. Perform the indicated operation. So we want to look at what are the operations here. Well, addition, addition. So addition, just like subtraction, needs common denominators. So let's look and see what we need for our common denominator. This one has a denominator x minus 7. It's a binomial that doesn't factor any further. This is x, a monomial that doesn't factor any further. This is a binomial, x squared minus 7x, and it does factor further. So if we write this in factored form, it's x times x minus 7. Now that allows us to see that this factor has an x, and so does this one, but this one does not. This factor has an x minus 7, so does this one, but this one does not. But now when we fix that, all three denominators are common. So we could write our result now with the common denominator, x times x minus 7. Now the numerators, remember, if we multiply by x in the denominator, we also have to multiply by x in the numerator. Here we have x minus 7 to multiply by, and we don't have to multiply by anything here. This denominator already had both parts of the common denominator. So now let's do the multiplication and write our numerator terms. X times 2 is 2x. Positive 1 times x minus 7 is just plus x minus 7. No signs change when multiplying by positive 1. And then plus our 7, which was not multiplied by anything. Okay, now we could simplify this by collecting like terms. 2x plus x is 3x. Minus 7 plus 7 is 0, so we don't have to write plus 0. Denominators now x times x minus 7. And then we need to check to see if that we can simplify, and we can remove a factor of 1. X and x are the same factor, so that's a factor of 1, and so simplified we just have 3 over x minus 7. Okay.